Hello, 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 hello. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good whatever, wherever you're reaching us from or you're watching us from. It's a pleasure to be on the football trio again. Um, Another day, another weekend of football action, and we are here to talk through it, go over it as we always do, as we often do. So if you're on the link and you're watching on the stream, sorry, and you're watching, please, 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 if you could share with your friends, the network, so that we can get a few more folks to join us as we talk through the action for the week as well as what has just happened this weekend. There's quite a lot to talk about. A lot of leagues in Europe are coming to an end, and so we are going to examine a broad topic, a broad range of topics, as well as also take a look at our Champions League semifinal return legs that are coming up this week as well. With me today, we have the football encyclopedia in person, none other than Ajab. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing so fine. I'm doing fine. How are you doing today, Nico?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good.
Okay.
We don't have True3lion today, unfortunately. He's not able to join us to make the trio. So I'm guessing our audience is the trio today, part of
hmm
the trio.
Yeah,
So let's jump right
we have to choose if we'll call it today football duo or we'll call
in.
our
Football duo.
fan the trio. So we have to
That's
decide.
right. Football duo. Football duo. That works. That works. I like that. So I mean the I know that the Premier League is one of the biggest leagues in the world, most popular, I would say. And there's been a lot of action in the Premier League and a lot of talk, of course, the title race. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about top four, the race for top four, because there's some developments there. Of course, we'll talk about relegation because we've gotten two promotions this week. Um, and also, we will cover the Italian league, the Spanish league, the German league, and then talk about the Champions League. So 1 hour of football talk, maybe an hour, a little over. We'll see how that goes. If you're watching us, please do not forget like, subscribe, share,
Share,
follow,
share,
whatever you
share.
do on L. We are on all social media platforms. So, all right, Sir Ajab, we just watched Liverpool and Spurs. It's
hmm
a game that at some point was 4-0. I got up from watching. I went to get a drink, came back, and it was 4-2. I'm not sure what happened really. So I was hoping to catch the highlights later on. But what are your quick thoughts on what's happening there? And I know that Liverpool needs to keep winning because they really have an outside chance of making it to the top of the league in the Premier League.
So
Or do
so
you think
iffy,
it's not for them?
so iffy, so iffy. You
Yeah.
have to, yeah. So if you where they are now, where Arsenal is, where Man City is, those two teams have to lose their games, and then they win their games. It's they're out of it. They're out of it. But with regards to today's game, Tottenham has lost four straight games. I think this is the first time it's happening to them in like 20 years. So, and this is surprisingly that it happened at the time where everyone thought as Tottenham was. This was a season where Tottenham was trying to get back to that Tottenham we know, where every season you saw them in contention for top four. But
Yeah.
things second round, I think what I think is maybe they have a thin, the squad is not thick enough, right? They don't have a thick squad, and then they played so much, they exerted so
Football.
much energy in the first part of the season that now is working. Look at people like Madison, who was like first 10 games of the season, he was like the signing of the season. And then after his injury, he's never gotten back to himself. So it's been happening like that to Tottenham. Bissouma and Sa were like very good until they had to go to the AFCON. When they came back from the AFCON, they've never produced the form they had. So Tottenham, they've been having some ups and downs. But what happened about Tottenham today is that I think with a few more signings, they're starting to show that they could do something. Because with being 4-0 down, if you watched the last 20-25 minutes of the game, Tottenham almost came back to 4-4. They had like good chances. They didn't give up after 4-0 and like, okay, let's just play for fun. The game is over. They actually came back into the game. After scoring the first goal, you could see Richarlison going to pick the ball in the net, bringing him back. You see, they showed like they could play something. So you can see some of these teams that have a new manager and then brings in a new style of play and brings in a few new players. I don't just write them off right away. I'm someone who believes in, like I said, even though we have sentimental attachments to teams, football is also an entertainment sport. So if you see someone producing some of those spectacles, even if they're not giving you that trophies, maybe give them 1 or 2 seasons, to maybe a third season. If it doesn't work, then you say, okay, we've given you the chance to give us your philosophy. It hasn't worked. Don't rush, get rid of him, bring another person, and then we start complaining that the previous guy was better than you, and then you bring another person, right? We'll go there later on when we talk about maybe Chelsea or something, we'll
Uh,
get there. But I think Tottenham has a pro. Ange Postecoglou, he's how can I put it? He's shown us what he wants to do, like the high pressing football and the high line. My only problem with him right now is that he doesn't have a plan B. When you stop his high
True.
pressing or his high line, he can't sit back to play. Sometimes you can win playing dirty. He doesn't want to win playing dirty. That's where the problem
Absolutely.
is. Yeah.
Absolutely. And there's this conversation that's ongoing somewhere on the I think on X, where they're saying this is not Celtic. The Premier League is not the Irish league, and he needs to understand that in the Premier League, when you come out that open, you can get taken apart. But let's look at it this way, right? Is it the fact that Spurs is just not good enough, or the fact that they have really faced some formidable opposition? Because the four games they've lost have been to like the top four teams, right?
Yeah.
Spurs, they lost. Well,
No, they lost
Newcastle
to
is not top four.
Newcastle and yeah, Newcastle and
Newcastle
Chelsea.
has been
Chelsea
playing very
technically
well.
it's
Chelsea
Chelsea
technically
technically
is still a big team,
yeah.
right? And we need to talk about Chelsea too. I would like us to segue into Chelsea right after this conversation,
Okay.
because I think
Mhm.
Spurs has lost to Newcastle, Arsenal,
Chelsea.
Chelsea, and
Mhm.
Liverpool.
Yeah.
And in three of those games, they've conceded more than three goals, but they've
Mhm.
managed to score two they've managed to get two back versus Arsenal.
Yeah,
We can
yeah,
say Arsenal
mhm.
let them in, but then they also managed to get two today versus Liverpool.
And
Um,
still missed scoring
Still miss
chances after
chances.
yeah. So
Exactly. Exactly.
yeah.
So, I mean, does it boil down to the fact that they just faced formidable opposition that was really, really good and over versus the fact that they're just not good enough?
It's why maybe you could say they're not that good enough. As Tottenham,
Mhm.
they don't have that team that you can say, okay. Let me say if Tottenham finish top three, top four, top three, it will be a surprise to me because if you look if you look at the skills or talent or squad depth they have, if you want to compare with every other team that is challenging for the top four, maybe with the exception of Aston Villa, you will see that Tottenham deserves where it is right now. Liverpool has a bigger squad and more talents than Tottenham. Same with Arsenal. Same with Manchester City. So where they are
Mhm.
right now, if Tottenham finishes fourth for me, it's an excellent season. If they
And
finish fifth, it's an okay season. It's not a bad horrible season. The reason people would think it's horrible is because where they were at the beginning of the season or mid season and all that. That's where people will say it's horrible because they were somewhere around third place or comfortable around
I
fourth
mean,
place, and then all of a sudden,
after the first
yeah,
10 games, Spurs was
no,
top of the league.
yeah, no, I'm talking about when we got to like mid-season, they were still like fourth or comfortably around fourth spot, comfortable. Yeah, Aston Villa was the one fighting to meet them. At some point, Aston Villa too was third, and then so Aston Villa and Tottenham finishing fourth to me, excellent season. Finishing fifth to me, good season to them. But I still think Ange is building something. They need a few. They need to bring in it. Look at the way they play. Odegi or Udogu or how they call him, the left back, the Italian Nigerian left back. That guy is like 21 years, 22 years. Van de Ven is like 21, one of the fastest defenders right now in Europe. You have Poro who is like 23. You know, Vicario just came in. So sometimes you need time to adjust to get your team back in shape. So I just think give him a little bit of time, but I think he should use the preseason to build on a plan B, to build on the defensive phase of the team because they're also conceding a lot. Attacking wise, creating chances has not been a problem for
I think I lost
Tottenham,
Ajab.
just like for
Yeah,
Chelsea.
there is a sync issue for sure. But okay, you're back. Hey Ajab.
No, I thought you were the one. Okay, you were not getting me.
No, no, no. I think I
Oh,
lost you there.
yeah. Okay.
I'm not sure if it was me or you, but
Okay.
we're back. So talking about Spurs' opposition today. Liverpool had a very good game when they started out the game, but there's just this thing about Liverpool this season. They can't stop conceding goals. They will concede even if they score five, six, seven. I'm not sure what to make of that defense, but what are your quick thoughts about Liverpool? I know that they're like 5 points behind everybody in the top two now.
Yeah.
But with this win, do you feel like if something were to happen to, say, Arsenal and City, they literally can step in there?
Nah, it's over, man. Stop bringing
Over for
Liverpool
them?
into stop bringing Liverpool into the conversation. Liverpool has
Okay.
78. Liverpool has 78 points. Man City has 82 with a game in hand, and Arsenal has 83.
Arsenal.
So what are we talking
Yeah,
about? And we have three
it's over.
games left.
All right.
It's going to be a miracle, and
For
it's not like how can we put it? If Liverpool was the one that had a game in hand, they would say, okay, there's something if we can put them into the conversation.
okay.
But they don't have any
Okay.
game in hand. And
Mhm.
Man City is Man City. I don't know for some reason the last few seasons they've always have a way. They always have a way to get back into the whole
To
thing
the
towards the end
title
of the
discussion.
season. Yeah, towards
Yeah.
the end of the season because at the
They don't
beginning of
lose.
this
The
season,
last,
yeah,
yeah,
they were
on
they were con-
average,
yeah
City hardly loses their last 10 games of every season
they were
on
con-
average.
they were
Since
conceding
Pep
lots of
came in.
yeah they were
Yeah.
conceding lots of goals this season. We're saying this is not the city we know. They're always conceding, and then at some point from April they stop
They just
conceding
started.
goals. They
They just
barely
stopped
concede
conceding.
goals. It's like they have an alarm on their phone that when it gets to April 1st, it's like, oh
I
guys,
mean,
time to stop conceding. And then I don't know. Yeah,
that speaks to this big brother attitude that I talked about last time we met. When I look at City, I'm looking at these guys who say we've done it before, we know how to do it, and we can do it again.
yeah,
Right? They have this air about them that they have control of this thing, and it's really the ball is really in their court because if they win all three games that they have,
they're done.
they're two.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but my point
two.
is, why do you have to wait till the end? Why don't you just do it
Do
all through?
it.
Why do you always have to wait until a certain time of the year and then you start showing us who you are?
Well,
When we know that
that'll make our league become like a farmers league,
no,
Premier League,
everything,
the
everything.
French
No,
league or
and
something.
yeah, that's my point now, and that's why I'm not a hater. If I
So the
want,
interesting
I want to keep. I want to. If there's a way for Pep Guardiola to be in the EPL for the next 10, 15 years, I won't have a problem. My only problem now is that him winning it four consecutive seasons is going
That's
to
a
be an
problem.
issue.
Yeah,
But
that's a
I
problem.
love Pep. I love his philosophy of the game. Pep is, yeah, if you want to watch good football with results, watch Pep.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
care people saying 500 million. Give another coach 10 billion a season to sign players, right? They will not produce the
yeah.
football Pep is producing. Yeah, take
That's
it.
true.
I'm not there to argue with people saying that he spent this amount of money. Man United has
That's
spent more money than Man City since Pep came to Man City. Man United
very
has
correct.
spent more money. So what are we?
Very correct.
Chelsea just spent the billion. How much was it? A billion? Not too
Yeah.
long. Yeah, in
About a billion
Since Todd Bolly and the share capital
installed
people
bowling.
took over. So
Yeah.
so what are we talking about? Money. It's money spent and money spent on the right people. People like Rodri. If you don't watch football like all the time, you won't know who Rodri was before he came to Man City. And he's made Rodri who Rodri is, but people will say he signed Rodri for 60 million. Who was
Six.
Rodri before he signed it for 60 million?
I
That's
mean,
how
he
we look
has.
at it. Yeah.
We have to be honest.
Hmm.
Pep has talent ID. He knows what he wants. The unfortunate thing in the Premier League is because Man City was really rich, a lot of these players got overpriced, right?
That's it. Exactly.
And it started with people like Jack Grealish. When
Hmm.
Jack Grealish was, at
100,
some point we
million.
were like, wait, what? 100 million for Jack Grealish from Aston Villa? So you start asking yourself these questions,
Hmm.
and that was because City just had the money. City
Yeah.
just had the money, and everybody wanted a piece of that money. So let's talk about top four. We Spurs has an outside chance of making it. They still have a game in hand, but see how they've been playing. Do you think they can really make it into that top four spot, or has Aston Villa already wrapped it up? I mean, Aston Villa faltered today
They
versus
lost.
Brighton. I mean, I
They
didn't
lost.
expect them to lose to Brighton,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you could tell that Aston Villa, the players are kind of tired, and
Yeah.
but I don't know. I don't know what's going on there. What are your
I
thoughts?
don't know. Two things. I don't know. Maybe they're thinking they already the fourth spot is guaranteed, so they relaxed. I don't know. Or secondly, like you said, they're tired. If you see the
Mm,
way Aston Villa is playing, man, especially the guys in the midfield, Douglas Luiz, the captain McGinn, those
yeah,
guys put in their all for 90 minutes and then they probably go home and just sleep. That's how
sleep.
they play. Like the energy they put in the games is so it's crazy. Even Oli Watkins, the way he plays, he's not the
Watkins.
in-box striker. He's everywhere around the box. He goes to the right, goes to the left, and he puts in a lot of energy. So and he doesn't rotate a lot. If you look, only Emery doesn't rotate a lot except they have injuries or suspensions. So maybe the players, maybe they're suffering from tired legs. They're in Europe too. They haven't been in Europe for a while. So they're playing in Europe and they're playing and they lost in Europe 4-2 in at home versus
At home, yeah,
Olympiacos.
to
Versus
Olympiacos.
Olympiacos.
So,
Yeah. So
but I mean, it's Unai Emery. When those Thursday evening competitions are his thing, he knows how to make it work. I think we'll talk about it when we come to it, but I think he's gonna
uh
make it happen.
okay.
Either way, he will figure out a way. It's Unai Emery. He always does. Thursday night European tournaments. It's all Emery. He has
Yeah.
won them more than anybody else, right?
That,
In all of history. So
yeah.
let's so Brighton today was quite impressive though.
Yeah.
They were quite impressive. I mean, they had a goal disallowed.
Mhm.
They had their chances. They took them, and I don't know. Edingra. I want to talk about Edingra because he was Afcon's young player of
Young
the
player. Yeah.
tournament.
He didn't even
He
start.
was
He didn't start the
very good.
tournament due to injury. No, no, no. Adingra is very good. Yeah.
He was very good today. He was
Mhm.
imperial. He had the assist that caused the denied goal. VAR denied
Mhm.
the goal for offside, and I mean he ran that defense down. Like he was doing all sorts of things, and it's really impressive when you see it. And some of these kids, man, I love it. I just love it.
Mhm.
With fourth place, we think it's possible that Aston Villa kind of has this in the bag, even though they started today.
Mhm.
Let's talk about relegation. Let's talk about the relegation spots. When you look at the table, I'm trying to pull it up. I think the story is done for Burnley and Sheffield. I'm not too sure. What are your thoughts? Because Burnley has 24 points,
Mhm.
Sheffield has 16, and Luton has 26 points. But
No,
I just feel like Burnley's
Sheffield is
next.
Sheffield relegated already. So it's now we're
Yes,
looking
they
out for the second and third guy. Yeah.
Yes, yes. And I don't know that Burnley can win their next games. I really thought that they would have a chance this weekend against Newcastle yesterday, but they
Newcastle
just they got pummeled.
beaten.
And
Yeah, they got
because
beaten.
especially because they had the tie versus Man U last weekend, right? So I
And
was
then
thinking
they also had a tie versus Chelsea a few weeks before.
exactly. So
Yeah, so yeah, and then
they beat
they won again.
United 4-1. Yeah,
Yeah,
they beat Sheffield
exactly.
United 4
So they were
in
looking
between that.
like they're back. Yeah,
Exactly. So I was really hoping for, Vincent Company to come through. But again, this proves that champagne football is kind of tough. You can't,
you need
play
champion
champagne
football.
football throughout. And Newcastle really took advantage of that. And their next opponent is Spurs,
Yeah,
which I think, it's a done deal. Spurs is gonna
eh,
probably walk all over them because they will be going to London to play.
yeah.
And then they have to face Nottingham Forest on the last day when they'll probably already be relegated. So
That I would have loved that game against Nottingham to be a game where both of them are fighting
are
to
fighting
keep
for it for
fighting
to
for a
stay
spot
in.
to stay
Yeah.
in. I would have loved it to be that way, man. It would have been an
That would have been an interesting
exciting
game.
game.
Yeah, very
Yeah,
interesting.
I feel
Nottingham
so.
Forest is pretty good.
Yeah, yeah, they're good. I'm surprised that yeah, they got deducted some points though, but
Yes,
even with
yes.
the points, they
They're
would have still
not
been
doing it, but
same position but a little safer.
a little
Yeah, they would
simple.
have been same position where they are because Brentford is 36 points and then Forest is 29, right? Or something like that,
Yeah,
right?
I'm looking at the top there,
Yeah,
29. Forest has
yeah,
29 points,
yeah.
and
So
they're just
Brentford is
outside. They're just outside that relegation
yeah.
spot because Luton is right behind them with 3 points. And Luton's fixtures. Let me see. What is the fixture list for Luton? Will be interesting. Luton has to play against
West Ham,
West Ham
West Ham,
and then Fulham.
West Ham and Fulham. So they have only 2 games left.
2 games left, yeah, because
Yeah.
they've already like
Oh
played
yeah, they played 36.
36. So
Tough.
that's an interesting proposition. I don't know. West Ham hasn't been good. Let's talk about West Ham for a second, because West Ham, I think West Ham has been one of those teams that in the past has been a bogey team in the league, but this
Mhm.
year they have been really, really rampant. They have lost more games. They've considered more goals. I think more goals than anybody in the top 10. And they are like nine. They have
Yeah.
considered
Oh, you said
approximately,
top 10? They've
yeah,
considered, they've only two teams have considered, only three
more
teams have
goals than them.
considered more
More
goals,
goals than
with the
them.
exception of Sheffield. Sheffield has considered 100 goals.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
when you
so
look at West Ham,
Sheffield, you have Sheffield and then the other two teams on
yeah,
the relegation, Burnley and Luton.
Luton. So they've
West Ham has
considered
considered
70 goals,
70 goals. Yeah.
70 goals, and they've had like 9 games where they've lost more than 3-0 or
Mm.
3-1 or 4-1 or 4-0 or 5-0 or 6. It just baffles me that West Ham is this they're having this type of season when they just won the European Conference League.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And they played
So
the quarterfinals
the
of the Europa
quarterfinals,
League. They were
yeah,
looking good.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, things after
So
that game, things just turned sour for them, and it's not been the same. I don't know. Maybe all their hopes were in the
in the
Europa
European
League, and then
Conference.
after that, it just break them mentally because the way they've been playing since then, even though they've not been playing good before then, but after then, things just went sour,
Sour.
like
Yeah.
sour. Yeah,
It's tough, man. I don't know. I don't know. David Moyes.
I think he's gonna. I think they're gonna get rid of him.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
think it's
they
over.
had a conversation. West Ham had talks with the guy, the Sporting Lisbon coach, but it's like things didn't go well.
Okay.
Yeah, the guy who Liverpool too also wanted, the
Fine. Yeah. Yeah.
Amorim guy who, yeah, the young Portuguese guy. West Ham had held talks with him about a week ago, but it didn't. It's like things didn't go well. So,
Oh, okay.
but I think the way things are looking, I don't think West Ham is going to keep.
Mm.
Yeah, because
And
when you look at Paqueta, Kudus,
Bruce Owen,
Those three guys.
Antonio, even Antonio. So
No,
it's
Antonio is just. I'm talking about ballers. Antonio is just a very physical guy that on a good day he will give every defender a run for their money. Sure, on a good day, but those other guys are ballers. Even when you see West Ham losing, you still see them with the ball. You see that these guys are better than West Ham.
and this
You know?
this
Yeah,
year they got in Calvin Phillips. They got James Ward-Prowse. So
yeah.
you'll be thinking they can do something
That yeah.
somehow.
So is it the Declan Rice effect? I don't
Yeah,
know.
yeah, it's possible. It's possible, but I mean, I'm not impressed. I'm not impressed. Yeah, so you're right, and they have to face Luton, and then they have to face City. So can we possibly think they can do something on the last day against City? Question mark, question mark. I don't know. The way City are playing,
Yeah. If
yeah,
you
West
did
Ham
you
is likely
yeah, I
to.
know they say no two games are the same. But
Yeah,
if you watched the way Chelsea dominated West Ham today, thinking about West Ham holding City back, it's like a sacrilege.
yeah, yeah.
Trust me. Yeah, yeah. So
All right, let's talk about Chelsea. You just mentioned Chelsea.
yeah.
They've won their last 2 games in a row, and they've been playing pretty impressive.
Without
Can
without con-
we,
without conceding.
without conceding a goal?
That's strange because prior
So
to that they
in
had
their
been a
last,
while.
yeah, in their last 2 games, they've scored 7 goals and not conceded a single goal. Can we now start looking at it like Pochettino's thing is starting
Um,
to work, or
this is me.
somehow?
This is me. This is me. People will say yes, Pochettino, he's trophyless as a manager and all that. But Chelsea fans are so emotional. They forget that Abramovich Chelsea is different from Todd Boehly Chelsea. When Todd Boehly took over Chelsea, or when he took over Chelsea and then he kicked out Thomas Tuchel and brought in Porter, right away you already know that this guy has a different project in mind. He's not a winner. He's trying to build something, which I'm not a fan of, but that's what's happening. So there's nothing I can't change it as a fan. So what I tell people is, you you sack Tuchel, you bring in Porter, you get rid of Porter, you bring in his assistant who is there for one match, and then you bring in Lampard, and then at the end of the season you bring in Pochettino, right? So that's the fifth manager under Todd Bowley. And then Pochettino is having a better season than last season. Fans want Pochettino again to leave because he's not good enough for Chelsea. Chelsea, you understand? Chelsea,
Yeah,
a Chelsea that got rid of the key players and brought in young guys based on potentials. They say Pochettino is not good enough for those. So they look at the name, they don't look at the players available. You
yes,
understand? They're talking about him not being good enough for Chelsea, but they don't look at the players, the quality of players that Chelsea have. Chelsea brought in new guys, between the age of 19 to like 24, 25 that
Or
they're
24.
looking up to
Yeah.
build in something. Players that have never played together for a while, but you want Pochettino to blend them right away because he
Yeah,
had a
but what
preseason with
can we
them.
really talk about? What can we really say about that project, though? I mean, do you think
No,
that's the
I'm
right
not.
way to build a
I
football
don't think
team?
it's the right. I don't think it's the right way, but that's what's happening. You cannot blame Pochettino for this. My problem is fans
True.
are blaming Pochettino more than the players and more than the owner. The owner should share 90% of the blame for
Okay.
getting rid of the Kantes, the Jorginhos, the Kovacevic, the Kovacic, the Havertz, the
I've heard.
Mounts, players that have been together for two,
Yeah.
3 seasons, and bringing in brand new guys because they have potentials, and then expecting the same results. You see, fans are expecting the same results from a brand new team, inexperienced team. Enzo Fernandez, I'm another person. I'm not a fan of transfer fee. I'm a fan of talent. Don't say
Hmm.
they signed him for 100 million. He has to be the best player. Mbappe will be going to Madrid for no cost, so it means he has the right to not to play well
Not
because
be
he
a good
didn't
player.
cost. Yeah,
Just not
because he
getting
didn't
much.
cost anything. So I'm more focused on their talent, not how much you were signed for. You could be
Hmm.
signed for a 100 million. You're not as good as someone who was signed for 10 million.
Agreed.
You
Agreed.
understand? That's how I look at
Yeah.
it. So yeah, so that's how I look at it. So my point with this is, I think Pochettino, yes, he will not win you the trophies you won as a traditional Chelsea under Roman Abramovich, but he's going to better Chelsea. He's going to make Chelsea look better. He's going to fight for top four if you give him time. And I'm not talking about 2, 3 seasons. I'm thinking next season Pochettino is going to be way better. Give him 5, 10 games. If he doesn't prove his worth in the next 5, 10 games of next season, by maybe the end of September, get rid of him. Yeah, but he's having a good season now. Chelsea ended last season with 44 points. They already have 54 points with 3 games to go. Chelsea
Okay.
has scored how many goals this season?
Yeah, they've
The
scored.
last season, top scorer in the Premier League for Chelsea was Carl Havertz with 7 goals. They already have Cole Palmer with 21 goals. You understand? Chelsea, they're saying Pochettino doesn't have a style of play, but every top team that has come to Stamford Bridge, Chelsea has given them a run for their money.
Yeah, Chelsea has scored 70 goals. So let's quickly
Yeah.
talk about Chelsea scoring. At some point, Nicolas Jackson was struggling in front of goal, just like Darwin Nunes at
Mhm.
Liverpool. But we've seen the past couple of days he's been banging in the goals. Can we really say? I mean, it does look like Chelsea's team is starting to gel. It does
Yeah,
look like that. So
hopefully. And some or most are saying Enzo Fernandez's injury is it's a
it's kind of
blessing
a
in
blessing.
disguise
Yeah,
because
yeah,
ever since he left, you've seen Chelsea's football blending, and the reason is that that's where I blame Pochettino. There's a way you can use Enzo, Gallagher, and Casido,
and
and you still
Casemiro
play
at the
fluid
same
football.
time. Yeah,
You don't have to. You must not use a 10. You must not use a 10 position. Look at how um uh, what's his name? Jurgen Klopp was playing with what's the Dutch guy's name?
Mane. Who
No, the
with
Dutch
who?
guy who used to play the midfield, the black guy. Wijnaldum,
Oh,
Wijnaldum. Wijnaldum.
Wijnaldum.
He used to use
Yeah, was
Wijnaldum. He used to use Wijnaldum, Fabinho, and Henderson. All those guys are defensive guys, but they were still playing
mhm.
fluid football. Forget about the 10. Just put one person as a pivot, put one person to control the right side, put one person to control the left side, and you have a game. Chelsea played it under Mauricio Sarri. They had Jorginho, Kante, and Kovacic, and it worked. None of them were playing like a 10, and it worked. So the problem with Pochettino, that's why I have a problem, is that he wants one of them to play as a 10, and he's using Gallagher to play as a number 10. And Gallagher is not a baller. He's not a ball carrier. He's just an
Not really,
energetic
yeah.
midfielder, a box-to-box energetic midfielder. So that's where the problem is. But as you said,
In their past two games,
yes, I
in
still
their
think that
sorry to cut you off. In their past two games, Gallagher has played like one of the two in the double pivot, right?
yes,
With
and it's
Casado
worked.
in that,
Yeah,
and it's worked really well. Yeah,
effectively. So my point with Nicola Jackson, he's still, yeah, even though he scored one against Tottenham and scored two today, Jackson still
yeah,
has
yeah.
his issues with decision making in front of the goal. It's like when he gets the ball, when he gets in front of the goalkeeper, that's when he starts thinking, should I dribble or should I score? He doesn't calm down his game. And the first thing,
Comes with age, I guess.
Jackson only had Jackson only had 6 months of good football at Villarreal before Chelsea signed him for 30 million. Chelsea signed him. I knew, if you ask me, even though I would say, if you ask me, I know Chelsea brought in Jackson to be as a backup for Nicolas, for Kunku, who got the injury. That's how I
Hmm.
look at it. And then now he became the first choice. I'm not giving, it's not an excuse. He's lost. If he was able to convert 50% of the chances that he missed, Chelsea would
Exactly.
have been fourth or fifth place. Trust me.
Yeah, because
If
he
you look at
misses.
how many goals he's missed.
Yeah,
So,
he
but
misses
he's getting there. If you look everything else, he bullies the defenders well.
very
He's good
well.
at
Yeah, because
taking,
he's tall too. He's tall.
yeah. He's
Okay.
tall. He knows he's good at running with them. He's always there. He's making the good runs, well positioning, but the conversion is the problem. I just need all he needs to do is to buy scoring boots, and I think he'll be good. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he'll be good.
he's generally Jackson has in this all of the season his shot map, his accuracy is just below 51%. So it's not bad. I mean, compared to other strikers in the league, he's not really poorly ranked.
Yeah, yeah. He scored 16 goals in all competitions for his first season so far. Not bad. 13 in the league
13 in the
and
league.
one in the FA Cup and then two in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not bad for the first season for someone who wasn't a proven striker. You
Like
know, Chelsea has been good at signing proven strikers. Like you see, Fernando Torres came, he flopped. Mateja Kezman came, they flopped.
he did.
Crespo was shaky. Morata came. Jackson wasn't a proven striker. So we're over
Werner, Timo
expecting for
Werner.
him because we're saying he plays for Chelsea.
Yeah.
Which Chelsea does he play for? Chelsea fans need to sit down and say yes. Abramovich's Chelsea is different from Todd
From
Bowley's Chelsea.
all right.
That's it. Abramovich will never sign Jackson. Never. Never. He will never sign
Good
Jackson.
deal. Good deal.
Yeah.
So
So
we've talked about the Premier League quite a bit. We've covered, I think, most of what I had in my notes as I was watching this weekend's and this week's action because we had catch up games during the week. I really do want to congratulate Everton because I think Everton, they're worth mentioning. You know, even with the
man.
points deduction, they still
Yeah.
figured out a way to get
Hmm.
safe, and
Yeah.
it speaks volumes, right? It speaks volumes to Shandaish and his plan and how he has been able to kind of hone in and focus and refocus this team. Because
Mhm.
I mean, I watched Dakure play and I was thinking to myself, man, this guy is so talented. And then
No,
you forget, you know,
I used to watch him since back when he was at Watford.
yeah,
He's been a good player.
good, good,
I
yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's huge, it's huge. So let's talk about promotions because we know that Ipswich and Leicester have
Leicester
booked their
City.
tickets.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leicester City have booked their tickets to the
I
to the.
watched I
Uh,
watched Leicester a lot this season. I love
yeah.
the way they play because of Enzo Maresca. Enzo Maresca was a former Italian guy who used to play for Juventus, played
Mhm.
for Sevilla, and then he later on became Pep Guardiola's assistant.
Yeah.
And then when those guys got relegated, they brought him in, and he's been good. Even though at some point at some point they become shaky. They started giving away goals, losing games. But I
Mhm.
think the Leicester story has been a very good story. They're back. They're back. They just left and then they came back, proving that
Came back.
okay, we came. We're fixing what we're fixing the errors that we committed last season. So I
Yeah,
think when they come back,
you mentioned Jose Mourinho. I want to also talk about one of his assistants who was working with him
no,
at United,
oh,
Kieran McKenna.
no. Yeah. The guy for Ipswich worked with Mourinho.
Worked with
The
Mourinho.
guy for Leicester worked with
Leicester also
Guardiola.
worked with
No, he
exactly
worked with
with Pep
Guardiola.
Guardiola. There you go.
Yeah.
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 So and Ipswich is promoted, and this guy,
Mhm.
I mean, 22 years out of the Premier League, and
And
McKenna brought them in. I mean,
the
from
story,
the back-to-back promotions because
yes,
they were in
exactly.
League
That's what
One.
I wanted to say.
You know, they were in League One.
That's
That's
a
the last
lovely
season.
story. Ipswich, yeah,
Unbelievable, I'm telling you.
yeah.
So I think this is a storyline for an Amazon type show because this
Sure,
is
yeah,
it's
yeah.
really good. It's really good. I really hope that as they come in after this 22-year absence, they can stay in the Premier League for a little
Hopefully,
while.
and I'm so happy. Jamie Vardy is coming back because I'm a
Yes,
Vardy
Jamie
fan.
Vardy. That's the other person I want to
I'm a
watch.
Vardy fan. I'm a Vardy fan. So I'm so
Absolutely,
happy he's coming back
absolutely.
to the Premier
That
League.
guy turned down Arsenal after making us
Yeah,
promises, and oh man, that year if he had joined Arsenal, would have Wenger
and
would
it's
have won the league and retired that same year.
and he's a 37-year-old guy still
Yeah,
scoring lots of goals. I think he
still
has
scoring.
18 goals this season. So
Yeah,
yeah, I'm a Vardy fan. I'm so happy they're coming back. But I'm hoping Leeds United comes back too. It's going to be a good playoffs because you have Leeds United and Southampton. Those are two good teams that left last season.
yeah.
So it's going to be a good playoffs too
Leeds
in
is on
the
90. Southampton is on 87.
hmm
And West Brom was also a Premier League team. They're going to
yeah.
be in that playoff
Yeah,
battle.
that's why the playoffs they play two semis and then finals. Wow, it's so
Yeah.
exciting.
Norwich is also going to be in there. So
Yeah,
all these guys
another
have
guy
been Premier League teams. Like, and
exactly.
if you
So
look at, if you actually look at the championship table, it's like the top eight are all
yeah,
former Premier League
it's
teams.
just Ipswich. Yeah, Ipswich too is a Premier League team, but
Premier
they've not been there
League,
for a while. They just
yeah,
made their way inside and now they're up there. But every
exactly.
other team are teams that have been in the Premier League just a few years ago. Few seasons back.
And right
So
behind Norwich is Hull City, and then the
exactly. You see,
Middlesbrough. So it's
yeah, guys who've been there not too long ago. So
oh man, these playoffs are going to be fun.
yeah. I'm gonna watch the playoffs.
Yeah.
I never miss
So
the playoffs.
I think next weekend, Norwich versus Leeds, and then West Brom versus Southampton,
Hmm.
and then I think the week after that it will be same thing, but Leeds, Norwich, and then
Hmm.
Southampton, West Brom. So it should be fun. Should be fun.
Yeah.
That's it for the championship. Let me see if there are any comments here that are worthy of note. There's one from Tamo Leo. He talked about
I think he was responding when I was talking about they say Pep spent a lot of money.
yeah,
Then yeah, then he said
it's
like
like
Chelsea,
Chelsea.
right? Just to
Exactly.
say that yeah, spending money doesn't really translate to performance.
Performance. That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So that's it for the Premier League. Let's segue into I want to talk about the Bundesliga. Let's talk about the Bundesliga. I right now Leverkusen is at 84 points. I think they've already locked up that spot. Yeah. They're gonna be champions. Well,
Yeah, they locked it like three
they
weeks
locked
ago
it up
already.
a couple of weeks
Yeah.
ago. But today they went on and beat was it Frankfurt?
Frankfurt, yeah,
Frankfurt,
Frankfurt.
yeah,
Yeah.
Eintracht Frankfurt, 5 goals to 1. So it looks like Alonso is really pushing, and of course Xhaka is unbelievable for these guys. It looks like Alonso is really pushing for an invincible season
Yeah.
where the team would not have lost any games
In any
um,
competition.
in any of the competitions they are in, and they can still get a treble. They
Yes.
can get a treble because they're in
Yeah.
the Europa League, right? They're in the
Mhm,
semifinals of the Europa League, and they
mhm.
actually are doing pretty well there. And man, let's talk about Bayer Leverkusen for a second, bro.
Yeah. See,
This is
I
crazy.
don't yeah. I
This
don't
team is
care
almost
what
made up
yeah.
of reject.
Yeah, I don't care what people say that they play in the Europa League. If Leverkusen ends up winning the Europa League, winning the DFK how do you call it, the German Cup,
Yeah,
and winning
GFK,
yeah, and
the
winning
league,
the
yeah,
yeah,
the
if
cup,
they end up winning the Europa League, winning the
yeah, cup,
they already won the Bundesliga. So
the
let's say
Bundesliga.
if they win the Europa League and the cup in addition to the
DFB
Bundesliga,
Pokal, that's
yeah,
how they call
Pokal, DFP Pokal,
it.
without losing a game. I don't care what
Yep,
people say. It's going to be the greatest story in football to me. To me,
that team.
yeah. I don't
Yeah,
care if it's the Champions League or Europa League. It's going to be the greatest story in football to me. Yeah, because looking at where Alonso took the team 18 months ago from the relegation battle, he brought the
yeah,
team back to a Europa League spot, signed a few players like Boniface, Grimaldo came for free from
Ronaldo,
Benfica. He brought
Xhaka,
Boniface from Belgium, brought
Belgium,
Xhaka,
Xhaka.
Xhaka that almost everyone was saying he's a wasted product.
I'm
He's
telling you.
done. He's washed out. He brought Xhaka, and now it's a different story. See how they play. And then when Boniface got injured, when the season started before December, Boniface was like the face of the Bundesliga, was like the key player for alongside Vets for Leverkusen. When he got that injury, everyone said he was done for Leverkusen. He went to Betis Seville, brought in this old striker Iglesias just to play as backup, and then Schlick came back from injury,
Borgia,
and then
Borgia, right?
they started Broja Iglesias, and then they started winning the 1-0, 2-0, 3
Sure.
2-1s, and then you winning Leverkusen 92nd minute they equalize, 95th minute
Exactly.
they scored the winning goal.
This.
So someone was saying that you remember the AFCON hosted in Cameroon where there was a
Yes.
ref ended the game at the 85th minute. You remember?
It's me. Yep.
Yeah, someone
Yep.
said that was the only referee that could stop Leverkusen from having
Lose.
from having a comeback because he's going to end the game at the 85th minute. Yeah.
No, but they
Oh
played really well. And
man.
today's game, I actually happened to catch it on TV, and they started the game with what's his name, Words. The
Yeah, Vets,
he's
Vets, Julian Vets. The kid he's
Words,
exceptional, man.
21-year-old guy. He's
Yeah, he's
very imperial too, and he scored a goal today. And then Boniface came on.
yeah. Boniface came
Um,
on. He,
uh,
he actually rested. They actually rested some
no,
players for the
Boniface
Europa
was
League.
rested. Boniface was
Yeah,
rested. Sorry.
yeah. He came in. He came in. Boniface came in later. Jonathan
So,
Tah did not even start. Who is the captain? He
Jonathan
did not
Tah,
even
yeah.
start. Yeah.
So these are some things that are really good, worth noting, because the German league, we know that we've referred to the Bundesliga at some point as a farmers league because the
Yeah.
dominance of Bayern and
Last
maybe once
11.
in a
Is it
while
11 or
Dortmund.
12? Is it 11 or 12
Yeah,
seasons in a row that Bayern won?
12.
Yeah.
12. So and then you have Dortmund that maybe once in a while would kind of put the pressure on. Last season, of course, we saw that. But they still lost it in the last in the last game,
Yeah.
right?
And yeah.
And Bayern ended up winning again. So with what Xabi Alonso has achieved here, can we easily say this is the manager of the year
No, no,
in
no,
the
no,
world?
no. I said it. I said it in the forum that I said it in a forum that he's already my manager of the year. I don't care if he's already my manager of the year. As soon as they won they won the league, I said that's
The
my
league.
manager of the year. So someone said no. What if Manchester City wins the Champions League and the FA Cup? Wouldn't I said that's a that's fine. But my problem is he's the manager for the year, and let's wait and see. He must be in that conversation.
He
So
has to
just
be.
alone, yeah, it just he must be a nominee, and just the fact that he's going to be nominated, it means already what I'm making him my coach of the year is sensible, even if he doesn't win. But I think he should be the
And this
manager of
speaks,
the year.
this speaks to
Yeah.
how the Bundesliga is really the strength of the Bundesliga this year, right? Because if you look at the European tournaments, the Bundesliga, the teams they have
Two
like two
two
teams in the
teams in the
Champions League,
semifinals,
semifinals,
semifinals.
Champions
They
League.
have
Yeah,
one team
then
in
they
the
have one in Europa, and
Europa. I
then
think they have
for
one in the
European this thing they
yeah
have one more.
yes
Yeah, so
yeah.
it's pretty impressive, pretty impressive. The Premier League cannot say they can boast of any of that because
They
right
have just
now
one. Just have one
just one
team, and it's on the fence.
hanging
Aston
by
Villa,
the
and it's
thread.
on the fence. Yeah.
Exactly.
So
Hanging by the thread. Aston Villa because they are actually down 2 goals in their first leg. So let's close it out with the German league here. Let's go into the Italian league. I think because the Italian league Inter already wrapped up the title there, the
yes,
Scudetto.
yes.
Inter Milan, they you know uh what was that? What's his name again? Inzaghi. No, not
Inzaghi,
Inzaghi.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Inzaghi.
Simone
Yeah,
Inzaghi, the
Inzaghi.
former
He,
Lazio
I
coach.
mean,
Yeah.
unbelievable stuff, man. Like
Hmm.
five, he has won the Supercoppa Italiana 5 times. He has won the
Yeah.
Coppa Italia 3 times, and finally gets the Serie A with Inter Milan.
You know what? You know the funny story about Simone or Inter? Inter, they only go for players that are out of contract. They don't pay. They don't
Exactly.
sign players. They don't go for signing fee. They only go for those guys that are out of contract. They go get you for free. Go get you for free. That's what they've been doing for like the last 2, 3 seasons. They get Onana for free. One season later, they sell him for 40 million.
Seven for
They,
40
and, they,
million.
and they have no problem selling the players. They have no problem selling the players. They're always going to have their replacements. They're comfortable with that.
And it's funny when you look at the Italian table. Sassuolo, which was causing a lot of havoc last season, looks like
Mhm.
they're definitely going to be relegated
Yeah,
this
yeah,
season.
yeah, they're gonna be relegated. Yeah, so Solo
Um,
is yeah. No, they still have a chance,
they
but
still have a
even
chance, but
even Udinese is not doing well.
yeah. But
Hmm.
when you look and then you look at how the top of the table is: Inter Milan, AC Milan, Juventus, and Rampa
Bologna,
Roma in fifth. So they're gonna
Bologna, Bologna is coached
Bologna,
by Thiago Motta,
Thiago Motta. Yeah,
before former Inter Milan and Bologna player as well, former Barcelona player too.
quite
So
interesting. Quite interesting.
yeah, we have the good thing when I love when I start seeing some of these young footballers being coaches, because to me I always have it at the back of my mind that if you've been a footballer or a good footballer and you become a coach, it's not a guarantee, but I just feel that it's easier for you to translate that football mentality into the players
Into
if you
the
actually
players.
played football. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that it's must, but I just think that when you see those good players that become good coaches, I think it's easier for them to translate their philosophy into the players. You
And
know,
most of these coaches that are really good are midfielders.
Yes,
Most
yes,
of
and sorry, let's go back to not really go back. Let's revisit the Bundesliga. Just Shaka.
them.
Shaka plays for Leverkusen, and then he's working on his car on his FIFA A UEFA A license.
Mhm.
So he's working with a fit tier team in Germany. He coaches them while playing for
Mhm.
Leverkusen. So that's
For
a good
Leverkusen.
story too. Yeah.
Yeah, so that it's quite impressive, and that's almost the trajectory, right? Because midfielders are like the people who dictate the heartbeat of the game. So
And
it's easier for them to read.
someone like Jorginho, I just feel Jorginho is going to be a good coach if he decides to become a coach. The way he
Yeah,
plays his football, I just think that if he
he's
decides
an
to
amazing
become a
coach.
coach, he's gonna be a good coach, Jorginho.
Yeah, I think he's and Arsenal just gave him a
Yeah,
contract
yeah,
extension,
yeah.
and
It's worth
so
it. It's worth it. It's
and
some
that's
of those.
because of his attitude and how he impacts the team, right? Even when
Yeah.
he's playing, you can see him pointing and kind of dictating
Even when he's not
so,
playing, if you watch him during like water
yeah,
breaks or when a player is down, the way he comes from the bench to talk to players, you see he's someone
yes,
that has that leadership qualities. He came to Chelsea after one season, or the first season he was already made
he
assistant
was
captain. Some
captain.
of those
Yeah,
players, they have
yeah.
that. Yeah.
They have it. All right, cool beans, cool beans. Good, good, good. All right, that's it. Italian league, German league, La Liga. I don't know if
Real
we need to
Madrid.
talk more about La Liga.
Real
Real
Madrid.
Madrid really
Real
wrapped
Madrid.
it up
Yeah, they
in the
wrapped
semi.
it up yesterday. Hmm.
Yeah, Barcelona lost 4-2, which was a
Hmm.
shocker.
To Girona.
Barcelona,
So they
yeah,
lost home and away to Girona this season.
to Girona.
So
Imagine that.
I'm very happy with Girona.
Yeah,
Some teams, people, yeah, even though they didn't win, they started the league, they were looking like the champions, but at least it's not like the end of the season fourth with
I mean,
20
nobody
points
saw
or
Girona
20
coming.
points or 30 points behind Madrid. They still
Yeah,
showed that they could fight for it, even though they didn't end up winning the league. They still showed that
exactly.
they could be in contention. So I'm happy for Girona. Yeah, and yeah,
And nobody
so
really saw Girona in this
no, no,
conversation.
no,
Let's
no, 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 no.
Even when they were at the top of the table, everybody was just
Nobody.
like when
Yeah,
Arsenal was at the top of the table
yeah,
last
people
year.
say, they'll finish fourth. They can't finish ahead
They
of
were
Barca.
finished
They
fourth.
can't finish
They
ahead of
might.
Atletico.
People were even saying they might finish outside the top four.
Yeah.
Right?
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's pretty impressive that they are second. And man, they beat Barcelona 4-2. It was a shocker, really. I didn't expect that, but it was a fun game. And I can't wait to see how they will do it with the Champions League coming. Because when you
The
look at the team,
yeah,
Girona,
the issue is this. There was some talks in the past about Girona not being able to make it to the
able
Champions
to
League,
play
even if they
because of
qualify.
um,
Manchester
yeah,
City, conflict of
Man
interest
City.
because they're owned by the Manchester City group, football group.
Yes,
So there
yes.
may be conflict. But we've seen situations where
They'll figure it out.
Leipzig and the other team was Red Bull Salzburg and Red Bull
Red Bull,
Leipzig
Salzburg,
have
Red Bull.
both
Yeah,
yeah.
they were
So
in there.
yeah, so
I
but
don't think it will be a problem.
it won't
I
be. I
think
don't
they'll
think.
figure
Yeah,
out a way.
but Real Madrid is good.
They'll
Let's
just make
give them.
sure that they're not in the same group, things like that, right? They'll just
Yes,
make sure they're not in the same group, maybe in the same pot, things like that. I don't
let's
know,
give them.
but
Let's give
there are
Real
ways
Madrid
to
their
work around
flowers.
this.
It's
Yeah,
good.
there are
Real
ways to
Madrid.
work around this.
Let's give their flowers. They've been last season. Barcelona won the league. They came back this season, and this is Antonio Rudiger's first ever title he's winning in football.
Right.
He's won
Yeah,
Champions League and other things like that and cups, but he
but
has
he has
never
not won
won
like
a league title. So this is his first league title he's winning. Luka Modric became the oldest player, right, to play in the
38 years,
Bundesliga at 38 and
250
something.
days.
And he beat the record of a former Real Madrid guy in Puskas.
Yeah,
So yeah, man, Modric. If I had the chance to sign a player, I would still sign Rodric because those
that's
are
that's
Modric.
that's another coach in the making right there.
Yeah, Modric.
That's
Those are the
another
kind
coach
of
in
players.
the
Those
making.
are the kind of players I love watching.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
just keep them. They just play. Yeah,
I
Uh,
mean, Los Blancos has done an amazing job, and they can
yeah,
do the treble too, right? Because they
yeah.
can
They can
win
do.
the
Yeah,
Champions League and
they won the Super Cup, right? So yeah, they can win the Champions League. I see them. It's not gonna be easy
but they can do it.
against Bayern, but it's just Madrid, man. Like
The
someone
fact
says,
that Bayern, we'll talk
like
about that
someone
when it
says,
comes to Champions
yeah,
League. But the
yeah,
fact
yeah,
that
yeah.
Bayern didn't beat them in
Hmm.
Germany, I don't
Yeah,
think
we'll go there.
Bayern
We'll go
will do
there.
anything.
Yeah, we'll go there. We'll talk
Yeah,
about the Champions
I
League.
don't
Yeah.
think that. But anywho, I mean, we're basically segueing into it because the Spanish league is the last thing we need to talk about before the Champions League. But
Okay.
I really wanted to point out Dali Blind, what is it, Daily Blind? He left
Daily
Man
Blind
U.
of
He's
Girona.
Girona doing well.
Yeah, he went back to Ajax
Um,
and then now he's in Girona. Yeah, Daily Blind.
Yeah, yeah, he's part of that Girona squad, and
Hmm.
of course, we've talked about the coach, relative. You know, we've talked about that.
And then they have a
The other,
small guy. They have a kid called Savio or something, who is
yeah,
like
from Brazil,
one of the key players. Savio, and then
yeah,
Eric Garcia, who used to play for Man City, he went to Barcelona. He's
mhm,
on loan at Girona from Barcelona. So, I think Barcelona said they're getting
mhm.
him back.
Yeah, yeah. Savio is 60. What is it? 20 years old.
He's been
Yeah,
one of the key players for Girona this
for
season.
Girona.
Savio. Yeah.
Very electric. Man, that guy can come to Arsenal any day. I would love him. Okay, that's it for the Spanish league, La Liga. Let's jump into Champions League football, right?
Mhm.
Champions League football. I mean, I think we watched the first semifinal, the first leg of the semifinals, PSG versus Dortmund, um, where PSG lost 1-0, right?
Yes.
And it was one of those games where we didn't see that coming necessarily, right?
No, no, no. Remember, I
Yes,
told you guys about
you
Dortmund.
you
That
you you
Dortmund,
saw that
yeah.
coming. I can tell
No, I
you,
didn't see
Trulian
it
and I
coming,
didn't
but
see
I,
it
I was
coming.
like, Dortmund, these teams like Dortmund, man, watch out
Yeah,
because we have a team where every player is almost at the same level. They don't have a player to watch. Those teams are
yeah,
very difficult to play against sometimes, even though it's not going to
yeah,
be easy in Paris, but at least they won their game at the Adona Park. So it's
yeah.
at least they're getting into the return game knowing we won the away game. Not
Yeah,
yeah. So
away
at
game.
least Yeah, so
I mean, Sancho, Jadon Sancho, Adeyemi, those guys were unbelievable.
Adeyemi played like,
Yeah,
yeah, like his life depended on that game.
yeah, yeah.
The
Those are,
guy
I mean,
was
they earned their money on that
everywhere on the pitch.
game. I have to say. Yeah,
Adeyemi was defensively, he will lose the ball
we'll
in the
work back.
PAJ side. 10 seconds after you see him defending, oh my, he was,
He was everywhere. He
ah
played a
man,
really good game that day.
yes.
And when he got subbed off, I think in the 80th minute or so, I was clapping. I was watching,
No,
and
no,
I,
no, no, no.
I started
Yeah,
clapping because I was like,
that kid, and he's a striker. By
yeah,
originally, he's a striker. They used him
exactly.
on the wing because they've been using him on the wing because of his pace. And then you see that because most of those strikers that are maybe shifted to the wing, right,
Hmm.
deployed to the wing, they're only good offensively. Defensively, they're poor. But this guy is very good defensively as well.
Yeah. What's to make of Mbappe though? Mbappe didn't have a necessarily good game that day.
Yeah, Mbappe has been the last few
Let's talk
games. The last few games, Luis Enrique has been using Mbappe as a striker.
striker.
Mbappe is normally good when he plays from the wing, especially from the left wing, where he has to come in and play with the right. Yeah. So what I'm thinking is going to happen in the return game is that Mbappe is going to play on the left, and Dembele on the right. They're going to start with Ramos, the Portuguese
Down the
guy,
middle.
and
Yeah.
yeah, as a striker. I think that
Cancelo.
Bacola is going to go on the bench. That's how I think Luis
Okay.
Enrique is going to play. That's how I look at it, and it's going to be the best option for them because they need to win.
Yeah,
These are those games that you say, I rather win 3-0 than a tie 0-0. You
yeah.
know, I better win or I better lose 3-0 or I
3-0.
win 3-0. I'm not going to tie the game, right?
There's no away goals, anything,
No,
and
no, no.
of that
Yeah, no
anymore.
more away
So
games.
they do
Yeah,
have to win.
yes,
The only way they can go through is by scoring two goals and not conceding any goals,
yeah.
right? So yeah, it should be a fun game to watch. Very fun game. It's gonna happen on Tuesday.
Hmm.
At the Parc de Prince. Looking forward to that one. Should be
Yeah.
fun. Um, Unfortunately, though, it looks like Adeyemi has a knock. Yeah, I know you told me about this thing last week, and I was just like, look, these guys have injuries, but you know how it is. When they put a knock, hey, they're just trying to psych up the opponent. But I think he's gonna be present anyways. I don't see anything. Sebastian Haller is out, right?
Yeah,
Still question mark. But
yeah.
yeah, outside of that, it should be a fun game. So, do you see PSG winning this one at the Parc de Prince and going through?
Yeah. Just because I saw this, just because I want Dortmund to make it, I wouldn't. I
Mhm.
wouldn't. PSG looks like they could win the game because the good thing about the positive side about the game is that they left Germany with just one goal down as opposed to because Dortmund had some chances that they had to convert
Mhm.
to be comfortable,
Oh
but they
yeah,
didn't. So
oh yeah.
yeah, at
There was
which
a save
most
by
which
Donnarumma that was really
yeah,
something, right?
which
Yeah,
most people are saying they're gonna regret it. But I want Dortmund to make it. But PSG has what it takes to make that difference when they go to Parc de France. But recently they've not been really playing well at the Parc de France, like they play out of the Parc de France. So it's gonna be. But yeah, I want Dortmund to make it. But if PSG makes it, it's not gonna be surprising to me. There are two teams that no one expected to get to this stage of the competition based on the way they were playing previously.
they
But
were
now
playing. Yeah, they made it.
they made it. So.
Okay. Well, that's it for PSG. But let's talk about the other game in the Champions League. There, the other game is Real Madrid, of course, with Bayern.
Mhm.
Um,
I
we
remember,
saw.
I remember
Yeah,
you saying Madrid was going to tear Bayern apart. I was like, Madrid,
I
they could
mean,
win. They could win, but Madrid, they never tear teams apart like in the Champions League. If you notice, Madrid is a team that will win 2-1, 1-0, 3-1. They don't tear teams apart, especially now that they play without a striker.
without a
If you
striker,
see,
yeah,
they don't play
yeah,
without it. They play without a striker. They have Rodrigo and then Vinicius and then Bellingham comes in from the middle, like the false 9-10 kind of thing.
yeah.
And
But
then you have,
their lineup against Bayern was just weird. It looked like they almost set up as a 4-4-2 though.
Yeah, that's how they play the 4-4-2 with
And
Vinicius and Rodrigo up front, but no one as a striker, right? They just
yeah,
have them up front there a little bit like wingers. So
and you notice
and
in that game, Chumeni struggled in the very first, like from the very first minute. Chumeni struggled because
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
that
But he
Bayern
went, yeah, the Bayern midfield, they like what's his name? Was it no Lima was like no Lima played well. It's Goretzka
Lima
that was a
played.
little Goretzka was a
Goretzka
little
was the one.
shaky.
Yeah,
Then I was surprised
yeah,
with Thomas
that was
Tuchel. He brought in Guerrero, who is a left back
yeah,
as a midfielder in that game,
yes.
and he played
It's a
well in the
fullback.
second half. He played
Yeah,
well in the
yeah.
second half.
And he came in like at the beginning of the second half, right? Because
Yes,
Goretzka
yes,
was really shaky. Goretzka
yeah.
was really shaky.
Hmm.
And I mean, if you look at the way the game went, you would have thought, okay, Real Madrid scoring first, this game is over, done
And
with.
yes,
Somehow they
and
fashioned out a way to get to come back, and it was Real
and
Madrid that actually had to chase the game to
yeah,
get the penalty
man,
towards the end and
that
tie it.
kid, that Musiala,
Musiala,
oh man, that kid, man, is
very talented kid,
so talented.
very talented man.
I could watch him for one day non-stop. He's so the way he plays with the ball, you think he's gonna fall, he never fall. Oh man, that kid is so good.
Then let's talk about another person to mention, Camavinga. Whenever Camavinga comes on, Real Madrid always seems to have a second wind. Luka
Energy,
Modric comes
energy.
in.
It comes
Yeah,
with yeah,
exactly. He
it
comes in.
comes with
Real
some
Madrid
energy. Yeah.
always seems to have that second wind. So it's really always impressive when I see him come on. But I don't know why he's being started from the bench. Like I don't know what Ancelotti was going for in this game, though.
You mean
I
who?
really don't get it.
Modric or Kamavinga?
Camavinga, because I know you can't
Yeah,
really start Modric.
yeah. Against Man City, he started both ties, and then they came. You know why he didn't start? Because
Wow.
um uh, what's his name?
Cruz,
No, Chomeni didn't play as a center back. He played as a midfielder.
midfielder, yeah.
Yeah, so they had Nacho and Rudiger as center backs, and then Chomeni and Cruz
Cruz in the middle,
with
yeah,
Bellingham.
with Bellingham, yeah.
Yes. No, no, no. There was another. No, no, no.
There was Rodri in there.
Valverde. Then Bellingham a little bit ahead of them because Valverde is ever present. There's no. He will never.
Bellingham didn't
He
have a
will never.
particularly good game that day either.
Oh, Valverde.
Bellingham didn't have a
No, 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 no.
particularly
Yeah, he
good day.
didn't. He didn't. No, no, no. He didn't. Yeah. No, Valverde is
Yeah.
someone who always start for Madrid if he's healthy. That kid too is very
So,
energetic.
what do you think happens on Wednesday for this team? Like, what do you
Madrid.
think? Bayern
Madrid.
goes through or Madrid figures out a
I
way?
think Madrid is gonna. I think Madrid is gonna go through. Madrid is Madrid.
Okay.
Yeah, it's Madrid. They
So
just have a
when
way
you
of
look
it.
at
Then
it,
Thomas Tuchel, don't write that guy off, man. Don't write him off. Thomas Tuchel, don't
true.
write him off. I know people were blamed last criticizing him for his performance in the German Cup and giving away the
Mhm.
title to Leverkusen so early. But Thomas Tuchel is Thomas Tuchel. Even when he lost to Real Madrid in the Champions League in 2022, he beat Madrid in the Santiago Bernabeu. Just that Madrid had won Chelsea at Stamford Bridge 3-1. He beat in
And
the Bernabeu. He won. Yeah,
away
he
goes
beat.
for something
Yeah, the
then.
leg goes. Yeah, and then Bernabeu he won 2-1
Yeah.
3-2. Sorry, where Chelsea had two goals cancelled, something like that. So don't write. Most people are writing Thomas Tuchel off, but don't write him off. That guy. It's not gonna be an easy game for Madrid though. From the way
Yeah.
I see, it's not gonna be an easy game. It's
Madrid
gonna
is
be
playing
a
at home,
very.
so
It's gonna be a game where sorry, this time around Madrid is
mhm.
going to be there, want to attack. They're not going to sit back like they sat back against Man City. They're going to attack by end for sure.
Okay. All right. So you see Madrid going through, but we cannot write off Bayern
No, no,
just
yeah,
yet.
no. What I'm trying to say is that it's not going to be like, oh,
It's
Madrid is
not
going to
going to
get
be.
this.
It's
Yeah,
not easy to. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
it's not going to
What
be like, oh,
about
Madrid, yeah.
PS? What about PSG Dortmund? Do you see Dortmund going through?
That,
I need you to
that
pick one.
Dortmund going through. Dortmund
Dortmund
goes
goes
through.
through. Yeah, you
Yeah,
don't trust
Dortmund goes
PSG,
through.
even
No,
though
no,
PSG
no, not that. Like I said, it's because I love Dortmund. I want them now. I'm not being objective in this
in this situation.
yeah,
Yeah.
this situation. I'm not being objective. It's because I want Dortmund to go through. But I think PSG they have what it takes
Okay.
to get rid of Dortmund. But I want Dortmund to go through, so I'll give it to Dortmund.
All right.
So my
Cool.
finals will be Dortmund versus Real Madrid.
Okay. One
Yeah,
German team versus
the Spanish team.
the Spanish team. So
Yeah.
there's no chance we'll get PSG in there. This will be
Ah,
devastating for Mbappe. He really wants to give them a gift
before he
before.
goes, eh?
Yeah. All right. So that's you. I personally think Madrid makes it happen. They
Yeah,
always figure it out. It's their cup. It's just like the when you get to a certain stage in the Premier League and Man City is involved, you just let it go,
you just
right?
let it go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just let it go. At this point, Real Madrid is in the conversation. Just don't even worry. Real Madrid is going to figure it out and they will get through. For Dortmund PSG, I would really love for Mbappe to have something,
he
because this
played.
kid has really played really good, and there are Ballon d'Or implications in this thing, and I want us to talk
Mhm.
about that after I finish the point I'm making. Uh,
Okay.
you know, Mbappe has had such an amazing run with
Mhm,
PSG. You
mhm,
know, he can do everything in this day and age. You know, we can talk about strikers and all this stuff, but Mbappe is not really an out and out striker. And he has gotten to a point in his career where he absolutely needs to win this tournament, this trophy. He
mhm,
needs to win this. You can't keep winning the French league and still be in that conversation, right?
mhm.
But because Mbappe really needs to win this as a goodbye gift to Paris, I think PSG goes through. The emotional side of me is taking over on that one. But Dortmund played really well in at home. I don't know that they can do a defensive job in Paris because the noise in Paris, Parc de France, on a Tuesday night, so much shouting and singing because
Yeah,
those
it's
French
fine.
fans are loud.
Yeah,
They talk about the Dortmund fans, but the
yeah.
French fans are,
Especially
trust
the
me.
PSG guys, they don't joke.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially PSG, and the entire France will be behind them. And I just think they make it happen. So I see a final June 1st, Madrid versus PSG. You know,
Okay.
that's how I see it. I know you're seeing Dortmund versus Madrid, but we'll see how that
Yeah.
goes.
At least we have
Um,
one. At least we both have Real Madrid. So
Yeah,
at
Real
least,
Madrid.
yeah.
Now it'll be disappointing if Real Madrid doesn't make it, but we'll see how that goes. Um, now let's talk about let's talk. I want us to talk about Ballon d'Or, because I really care about this. It's a question that came up in our conversations, right?
Mhm.
Who do you think can really be out there for Ballon d'Or this year? Of course, we don't have Lionel Messi anymore in the conversation. We don't have Cristiano Ronaldo in the conversation. Should we
Yeah.
be thinking Mo Salah, Bellingham, Harry Kane, maybe even Erling Haaland? What are your thoughts? What do you have in mind?
If I have to nominate five people right now for the Ballon
Mm.
d'Or, I will have Mbappe, Bellingham, Harry Kane, Erling Haaland, and who's that?
Vinicius, maybe?
Vinicius. Vinicius. Thank you.
Yeah,
Vinicius. Vinicius. Thank you. Yeah, Vinicius. Those are the five people I will. I
I
know
agree.
people will say, you've not won a trophy, you've not won a trophy. Sometimes focus on the person's individual performance. If
Yeah.
I'm doing everything for my team, then my teammates are not helping me, that you guys they shouldn't punish me because of that. You understand what I'm trying to say? So if
Mhm.
I'm best player for my team, best player in the league, top scorer in the league, they I don't win the league, I don't win the Champions League. Don't punish me that I did not win the Champions League, so I don't deserve a trophy because I did not
Mhm.
win the Champions League. Look at my individual performance for the team as well. So I'm just looking at someone like Harry Kane. He's had an
Yeah.
exceptional season with Bayern.
Unbelievable.
Bayern may end up not winning the leagues, and people will say, "Oh, he's not won a trophy. Why is he in the Ballon d'Or conversation when he didn't win any trophy?" No, look at his performance. If he's giving you the goals, 2 goals,
Yes,
3 goals a game,
36
and
goals
then
in
the guys at the
the
back,
Bundesliga this year.
are letting the goals come in, you're
Yeah.
going to punish him. Do you want him to play as a
Oh,
defender
yeah.
and as a striker at the same time? So those are some of the things. Yeah, those winning those trophies should be the icing and not the cake. You
Hmm.
understand?
Hmm.
Yeah. Winning those, like with your team winning the trophy, should be the icing and not the cake.
Another take.
Yes.
Yeah, 32 games, Hurricane, 32 games, 36 goals.
Yes.
And then 8 assists.
Hmm.
Guy. And he started all 32 games and he has scored 36. I
And
mean,
someone will
it's
say,
like this
so
guy
yes.
scores a goal every game
And
almost. You know,
someone will tell you is the German league. When he was in England, he did the same thing. Even with Tottenham finishing fourth, fifth, he will give you 25 goals or more a season. So it's
and he
consistency.
creates
It's not like
chances too. It's not like he's
exactly. He's
standing
not
like
he's
a
not an
Haaland and
inbox.
scores.
Thank you.
Yeah,
So that's
he
why I
creates
want
chances
Harry Kane
too.
to be in the
So,
conversation. And let's see how if they don't make it to the finals of the Champions League, if they don't win the Champions League, let's see how England is going to perform in the Euros. So maybe
the
that could
Euros,
help as well.
because that also is
We have
part
the
of it, right?
Champions League, and then we have Euros. England
Yeah,
on paper they have a good team that we can see them making at least semi-finals of the Euro on paper.
yeah.
France are always favorites. So
Yeah,
even if Mbappe doesn't make it in the Champions League, we for sure when he wears that blue jersey for France, Mbappe will give you 5 goals every competition.
goals.
At least. So yeah, so even if they don't make it this Champions League, they have the Euros too to still prove a point. So
So
you see
my
Mbappe, Vinicius too, maybe Copa America, he might do something well, and that will also step him up for the Ballon d'Or conversation. So it's not like we're only focusing on Euro. So even if he doesn't do well in the Champions League, he has Copa America too. So I have Vinicius, Bellingham, Mbappe, Kane.
Harry Kane.
Haaland is just there for the sake of scoring those goals, but
And
I
unfortunately,
don't think
Haaland is not going to be in the Euros, right?
yeah,
Because
he's not going to be in the Euro, so it's
waiting for it.
another reason. Like, yeah,
That's another
yeah.
reason.
So
So
another you don't choose your country. You can choose your
yeah,
team, but you don't choose your country. So that's another thing. I don't want us to keep hurting Alan. That if he was that good, he's going to qualify. Norway. Norway has a good team. No, Norway doesn't have a good team. They
they
have
do,
they
they
have the
do.
Odegaard. They have the Odegaard and
The
Haaland.
guy
How
from
many
Brentford. I mean,
yeah, how
Norway has
many
a
players?
good
Yeah,
team.
they have just they have an okay team that you
Yeah,
cannot say okay because Haaland is not going to the World Cup. How is he supposed to win the Ballon d'Or? It's just yeah, but me as I said, it's just because he's one dimensional. He's not a creative attacker. You know,
yeah, yeah.
strikers like Harry Kane could win the man of the match without scoring. Haaland will
True.
not. Haaland will
Haaland,
not.
yeah, he
Yeah,
cannot.
so
He's
those are the kind of things you look at. Mbappe can win a man of the match without scoring.
without scoring. Yeah,
Vinicius could win a man of the match without scoring. You know,
definitely
Even Bellingham could win a man of the match without scoring, but Haaland will never win a man of the match without scoring.
without
So
scoring.
that's
It's
where
amazing.
the issue is. But we
Yeah,
can't take that out of him. He's a deadly striker. You know, we can't take that from him.
that's an
Yeah, so
amazing point.
that's how I look at the Ballon d'Or this year.
Thank you for that. I
Mm,
really believe that this perspective is going to help with our conversations going forward on this. I really really appreciate that. The five people you named are definitely the five I have in my list. In my power rankings, though, I have Mbappe as the first.
okay.
I would readily give it to Mbappe, regardless of what happens in the Euros, just because I think in the league he's had the highest level of conversion, and even though he has scored less goals than Harry Kane in the league, because I mean he's playing the French league, you would expect him to score a lot more goals.
Hmm.
But he's a winger; he's not an out and out striker,
Yes. Hmm.
and he hasn't started all the PSG
Yeah.
games, right? So those are some of the things too that come into play. But the kid is just so good. When the
Yeah.
eye test, that's for me. The
Mhm.
eye test is more than anything
Yeah.
else. Um,
Sorry to interrupt you. Something about Mbappe is this. People will say, he's playing the French league. But each time Mbappe has faced any of the top teams in Europe, he scored them. He's played
exactly.
well. He's played good. Bayern, Barca, Real Madrid, if Man City, when he faces those teams, he proves his point. So that's something. Let's forget about his performance in the French league. Look at Mbappe when he plays against those top teams. Maybe someone's going to say he didn't score against Dortmund, but I'm talking about those powerhouses, when he comes against them, you see he proves a point.
And
So
it
yeah,
speaks
go ahead.
volumes. It
Yes.
speaks volumes now that he's the captain of France, right?
Yeah.
They made him captain of the French national
Yeah.
team. So it speaks volumes. This kid is talented. So
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
would go Mbappe, I would go Harry Kane, then Vinny Jr., and then Bellingham, and then Haaland.
Okay.
That's my power ranking. I hope that that's how it turns out, but let's see how the summer goes, because I know these rankings will be affected by how these guys perform in their summer tournaments.
Yeah.
Um,
For
you
sure.
know, and then
Mhm.
the votes shall come in. But I think it's a conversation we're going to have again. But I just wanted us to touch on that because the seasons are coming to an end, and it's something
But
that's
let's not forget that these things are people voting. So you vote for who
exactly.
you like,
Oh,
know
yeah,
who you think. Some not voting is
yeah,
not objective, right? You vote
exactly,
for who you like, know who you think
exactly,
what is it
exactly.
deserves it. So we could have Mbappe do everything, and then someone else goes and they
One
vote for
vote
Bellingham.
of
Yeah.
Bellingham. Yeah.
So, but
All right,
at
cool.
least we have the same people in the conversation, which is good. No matter how it turns out, but we have the same people in the conversation.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, parting words, parting words. We've exhausted the hour,
Mhm.
the time we've had with each other here. Thank you so much for being on. You're truly a human encyclopedia in a football encyclopedia in human form. Ajab, it's been a very pleasant conversation, picking your brain about the weekend's action and things like that. I just want to find out, do you have any parting words, anything you want to share, anything that
No,
caught your eye, all of the leagues? Where
like
do
I
we go?
said, I always have Leverkusen is going to be my story for the season. I had to buy the jersey. I'm not a Leverkusen fan, but I was a diehard Zabi Alonso fan. If you
Yeah.
ask me to name me in the last 10 seasons or my best five, my top five players. I'm not going to put Messi and Cristiano there. I had people like Modric. I had people like um, uh, Iniesta, Zabi Alonso.
Yes.
Those are the kind of players I love watching, not just
Yeah.
about scoring. Like I said, even though we have sentimental attachment to teams, I love watching football. I love watching good football. And Zabi Alonso were those guys who could close your eyes and give a 50-meter pass. It goes to the player, to their target. So those are the kind of
Yeah.
guys. So I'm a fan. So when I noticed that he was in the Sociedad academy as a coach, and then he moved to Leverkusen. I was like, okay, I have to start watching Leverkusen, and the rest is history. So my story
Yeah.
of my parent was, I love what is happening to Leverkusen, and I want if another good thing, he decided to stay stay at Leverkusen and not leave. That was a very good decision for him. And everything else. Chelsea is starting to pick up. Chelsea is starting to pick up, looking good. They might finish the season at seventh. Or seat is going to be tough because Newcastle too is picking up. So if they finish at seventh place, they will be able to play the European Conference League. But if you
Yeah,
ask me, I wanted them to finish eighth or ninth even, so that they have nothing next season. They just
nothing
focus
next
on the
season
league.
and then just
Yeah,
concentrate. Yeah,
yeah, because at least you now have one full season. No more excuses of no more that excuses of Pochettino having a brand new team. At least they've been together
Mhm.
now for one season. Maybe you add one or two more guys to the team, experienced guys, which I think is not going to happen because you see the owner still going to Brazil to scout 16-year-old guys when we know Chelsea has a striker problem or Thiago Silva is leaving. You hear they're interested in a player in the French, 18-year-old center back in the French league, and they're interested in a 16-year-old striker in Brazil. But we're saying Chelsea problem is experience. So we never know. The owners have their own mindset, the fans have their own mindset. So that's why the problem. That's the problem with Chelsea.
That's
The
what.
parting words is, yeah, everyone who's watching us, yeah, if you we just want you guys, I appreciate you guys for participating. Share, like, subscribe, and we'll always do our best to give you guys content back to back.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure. Thank you so much, Ajab, for today. Ajabi Alonso, absolutely the best ranked young manager. He's only 42, and he's working his way up there. The guy from Sporting Lisbon, who is Ruben Amorim. Yeah,
Amorin, yeah.
Ruben Amorim, that's another guy. He's really highly ranked. He's
Hmm.
got like 5 trophies so far, and he's only 39. So
Yeah,
it's coming full circle, really. It's coming full circle. At the end of the day, there's a lot of young coaches
I,
there.
I
I mean,
want, I
Mikel
want,
Arteta,
I
the
want the
guys
young
from
coaches.
Andoni.
I want the young. I like young coaches, man. I
Yeah,
don't want us. I don't like when football keeps recycling coaches.
the
Let's
older.
get these young guys. Risk. It's just that the way football is now, those owners, they don't want to risk. Bring
Mhm,
in some of these new guys. We want to see new guys in football, not having the same old names over and over and over. Bring in the new guys. Let's see them how they could do it.
and I mean, folks like Eddie Howe,
Yeah, Eddie Howe. Yeah, I
Kirby,
like him. People
yeah,
were thinking
those are
Mourinho was gone. People were saying
Mourinho for
Southgate. They
Newcastle.
were saying, yeah, Mourinho may go to Newcastle. May decide now to start investing the money they have in football. They might bring Mourinho, and then Eddie Howe may go to England and replace Southgate. Those are rumors we're hearing some 2 months ago. But Eddie Howe going to England to replace Southgate is
It's
a
a
good
good
one.
thing. It's a good thing
If
because
he leaves Newcastle,
yeah, Manu is actually bent on bringing
I'm
Southgate.
surprised. I'm surprised that Manu wants to bring Southgate.
Yeah, which is
We
really
saw yeah, we saw Southgate struggle at Middlesbrough, and now United wants to go for him. National team
and
football
with
is
an
very
English
different.
team that's so good, he still hasn't given delivered the
Yeah,
not
you
a
know,
single trophy.
national team football is very different. You
Hmm.
know, you play about 12 games in a year, calendar year.
Hmm.
You bring your team together. You have about 1 week or less to train to train with them before you go for a match. So you can easily make your selection when your players are at the top of the form and then they just go and win the games and it looks like you are a masterclass.
Yeah,
But with club football, you train with those guys on a daily basis.
basic.
Yeah, so it's different, you know.
We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah,
So, parting words. Thank you guys so much for being on. Really appreciate it. Please like and share our content. We will be coming back to you often, as as things get a little better for us to work and we get used to this groove of things. And we'll be coming with short videos also. So we would really count on you guys to share and comment. I really, really appreciate you guys for being on. Thank you for staying tuned. What, an hour and 13 minutes now. So we really, really appreciate that. Again,
yeah,
have a good rest of your day.
yeah.
Catch
Thank
you
you.
guys on the other one. Bye for
Okay,
now,
thanks.
guys.